hackers. It's Chris. I'm back here from the LIFE180 Mastermind. Got my crew here, just on lunch break. Thought it'd be fun. Got some people just doing lunch, chilling. Matt's eating lunch there. How many life insurance masterminds do you see people just walking around with no shirt on, eating lunch? I don't know. I don't know. 6, 7, no shirt. Exactly. So I'm before I go in here, let me do this. Let's talk for a minute. So we've been doing having a lot of conversations about Index Universal Life. This whole mastermind has been about building your brand online, learning how to communicate more effectively with your clients, selling better, selling from a place of value adding, not doing all this stuff about just like selling, a mousetrap of like, hey, here's how you get out of debt, here's how you pay off a mortgage, or here's how you do this or that. It's all about how do you really truly add value and help people align their money with their values and beliefs to get to where they want to go. And so one of the things that that just kind of comes up, because I guess it's my ethos and my ecosystem, and the people that are here and have been attracted to work with me, is there's a lot of people that have a lot of passion against Index Universal Life. And it's not because they have passion against Index Universal Life. It's because of the fact that they truly believe and know that Index Universal Life is the most misrepresented product in financial history. So as you're going through this and you're watching this, if you have any questions and you want to ask them about Index Universal Life, feel free to ask them. And whoever I'm talking to at the time, because I'm going to do kind of a round robin going around the agents here and asking them an individual question. Each one of them will have an opportunity to tell me what question they believe you should ask your agent before you buy an IUL. And that to me will be a lot of fun. We'll get different perspectives. Maybe we'll have a little overlap, but if you have different questions that kind of come top of mind for you and you want to ask, whoever I'm talking to at the time, I'll give the opportunity to kind of respond to that. And so I think this will be fun. I think it'll be educational. We're all passionate, like I said, about the fact that Index Universal Life is just not the right product for most people. It's not that it can't work. It's not that it's a horrible product. It's just a horribly misrepresented product that doesn't do this tax-free income and retirement as well as everybody is talking about. And I just believe that life insurance should never be an investment. Full transparency, I'm a huge believer and fan of a properly designed and structured whole life insurance policy when it's part of a greater strategy. But this idea of whole life insurance, or of Index Universal Life being kind of the one-size-fits-all solution to all your problems, and it's the secret sauce and secret missing tool that you're going to use to get where you want to go. Listen, I created this thing called the IULchallenge. A lot of people like to kind of comment on my videos and tell me that they're right, I'm wrong. Yet I've been offering $2,500 to somebody that can prove to me that they are right. That if they've had clients that have done this for this long, you would think out of the thousands and thousands of people that watch my videos, that one of them would want $2,500, or one of their mentors would be able to help them get $2,500. I don't know about you, but it seems like a no-brainer, but they just can't do it. So everybody's got an opinion. Opinions are cheap. Talk is cheap. What matters is actual results. And so, the way I look at it is Index Universal Life has no success. Everybody that says it's been successful, it's not. Maybe it's been mildly successful for the past 5 years, but it's been bailed out by the greatest bull run of all time. It's starting to show cracks. It's starting to be more and more exposed as people who have purchased it for the long run are reaching retirement and are kind of up the creek without a paddle. I know for me, I'm never going to put my money into something that has no real success stories behind it, right? I think that's an important thing to understand, is that IUL has really no success. I encourage you to ask your agent to show you somebody that's been using the product, that's been actually utilizing the product in real life and has successfully executed with the strategies over the long term. Not just the illustrations, not just the hypothetical scenarios, not all that garbage, but actual use case scenarios. That's why I like whole life insurance, because it's got 180 years of success. And so that said, I was thinking about doing a video on the, you know, what I was going to do is I was going to do a video. I was just going to sit here and talk to you about the 5 questions that you should be asking your agent before buying an IUL. And rather than do that, I thought it'd be fun to walk around to all the agents here. Some are IUL people and really educated on it, and some not really so much at all. But I think all of them are fully aware of the dangers of IUL and fully aware of why IUL is not in alignment with their values and beliefs. And I'll be curious to see what they say. Full transparency, I told them I was going to do this video. I told them to start thinking. And so I'm going to go around, I'm going to ask them the question, and I'm going to see what they have to say. So let's go. If you are just getting here, it's your first time here, please like and subscribe. You know, I do videos like this all the time. I just started going live. I'm here. I also run a private equity fund called the Cashflow Hacking Fund. This is our first investment with the Cashflow Hacking Fund. We're still raising money for it if you're interested, but you can go to cashflowhacking.com and check it out. But this is our kitchen. It's all open air style. I'm going to go over into the lobby/living room area. It's a really, really just amazing property. We're doing some really, really cool things down here in the Dominican Republic on the North Shore in the Samana Peninsula. So once again, subscribe to the channel. Go check out our videos. I've got more videos on that as well. I thought it'd be fun doing the mastermind down here. It's been really just a cool experience. So here we go into the den. We're coming in. Look at this. This is kind of fun. Check it out. So people just working. It's awesome. I love seeing all these guys just grind and get after it. They're all looking to do cool things. All right. Mr. Matt. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? What you got
all right.
on?
I am just live here.
All right. We're doing a lot of that over the last 7 days.
I know.
What's going on, guys? Matty Ice here, Millennial Wealth Creator. Wow. I'm too much in the zone right now.
Yeah.
I gotta calm down. What you got going on, Chris?
So, you know, we've been doing a lot of talk about Index Universal Life.
My favorite topic.
I know. I'm going to actually extend this and get it out there a little more. Sorry, guys. There we go. Doing some work on Index Universal Life, talking about the 5 questions that people need to ask. So what I want to do is I want to go around and I'm asking each one of you one question. What is the one question you believe people should ask their agent before buying an IUL to get the information they need to make an educated decision?
That's a good question. So here's what I would ask, because this, for me, ends the conversation about IUL. Okay? Ask them, if I can get upside potential and downside protection in a whole life product, why on earth would I buy an IUL? And see what they say. That would be my question. Because a lot of people don't realize that you can get that. You know, the idea of upside potential, downside protection market, that sounds really good, right? That piques your interest, but you only hear about IUL doing that. And there's so many things that can go wrong inside of an IUL. So if you're drawn to that, why not just get it in a whole life product and avoid all of the problems and risks and all the things that can go wrong inside of an IUL? So that would be my question.
Okay.
What is the point of IUL if I can get upside potential, downside protection in the market, and see what they say?
So now I want to push back, like just for fun, just because you know I want
to have some fun.
I think it'll be beneficial for people to hear your response. How it's impossible to get upside potential and downside protection in a whole life. I mean, how could you even do that? Whole life is just an outdated product.
Right.
That's what IUL agents will say. So I'm playing this, you know.
Yeah.
For you. So respond to that for me.
It's a similar process where it comes to the call options. Like if we want to get technical into it, but literally all they do. And I want to preface this. I should say this as well, kind of as a side note. I'm actually not a fan of involving any type of stock market performance with my policies at all. But it is an option if you want. But all they do is take your dividends. They use that to purchase call options just like the IUL would, all right? And if the market goes up a certain amount, you can double your dividend. You can do 1.5 times your dividend, things like that.
So what you're saying is there are companies that actually allow you to participate in the index the same way as IUL?
Yes, in a whole life product.
In a whole life product.
In a whole life product, without all the.
You guys know that?
Yeah. There's only 2 companies that do it right now. Great companies. So it's not very common, and I think that's why a lot of people don't know about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, if you're drawn to that, because that's a big selling point of IUL, and why they say 401ks are a scam. You know, all the volatility of the market and stuff like that. You know, get this upside potential, downside protection. Well, you have all the problems with IUL. If that's what you want, get it in a whole life product.
Love it, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All
man.
right. That's
All right,
fun.
guys, go
Keep it
follow
going.
him, Millennial Wealth Creator, on YouTube. So it's awesome. All right, Ian, what's up, buddy?
What's going on? Ian
So
Vogel
you
here.
guys, if you've been watching the last couple days, you've been seeing Ian. So your next universal life.
Yes, sir.
So I'm trying to get 5 questions people need to ask. So each one of you gets one shot. So
Okay. No.
I don't know if you just heard Maddie talking,
Yeah,
but he had
I
his
overheard.
question. So you were sitting here, kind of in the background listening. What would be the question if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, Ian, I'm thinking about buying an IUL. I'm talking to this agent." If you had one question you could tell them to ask the agent so they could, do their due diligence and make a better decision, what would that question be and why?
My question, it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward and kind of high level. It's not in the details. My question would be, do you know anybody personally who is successfully doing what you're projecting that this product will do? So if somebody is selling you IUL for income and retirement, for example, which is a big selling point for IUL, especially recently, it's like, do you personally know the insurance agent who's selling the IUL? Do you personally know anybody who has been taking money out of an IUL in retirement for 5 years successfully?
It doesn't, yeah.
Those people don't. I haven't met anybody.
I know.
haven't even heard of anybody, quite
I know.
frankly. Yeah, it's possible. It's
Oh,
possible.
it's funny you say that. So you say that, and then hey, what's up, man? So Scott Ganad, actually, IBC specialist, good dude. He put the comment. I'm reading it, so it's like a little weird. But hey, Chris, looking good out there, bud. I found the best question I've asked clients, or I have clients ask their agent is, ask the agent to show you their policy, and if they truly show you theirs, if they truly believe it's a good product. So here's the deal. I'll say this is like a lot of times these agents do have them though. That's the only thing I would say. I would add a caveat to that, Scott, and say show you theirs and have it be like an older, more mature policy, because there are people that have them that are a year or two old, and it's too immature of a policy to even know good or bad. This is too many agents are selling these things based on like these short-term kind of projected results, and what really matters is the long-term projections, like how's it going to perform when you actually need it to perform, i.e. when you're looking to take tax-free income in retirement, right? And so in order to do that, you need to have somebody and have some success of policies that are older, policies that, let's call them at a surrender period, have worked through this process, and people are taking income or utilizing loans on a consistent basis over a 5+ year period, like Ian was just saying. So I would just encourage take it to the next level and go a little deeper, because the question, just simply put as it is, gives people kind of the opportunity to get off the hook and be like, yeah, I got one, it's 2 years old, and whatever.
That's not meaningful data.
No, it's really irrelevant data, right? And so there's that. So yeah, no, I think that's awesome. So keep going.
Think about it. IULs have been around since 1997. They didn't really pick up speed until about 2009,
Right.
the late 2000, that area of time.
Yep.
There have been hundreds of thousands of IULs that have been sold over that period of time.
Yep.
And some that are going to be 15 years old at this point. There should be, and given the fact that the market has done so well over the last, in that time frame, you would expect every IUL to have at least hit or beat the illustrated value.
You would think.
And if only a fraction of those policies are doing that, very small fraction, if you can't easily find an IUL that's 10 to 15 years old and beating the original illustrated value, and you can't find somebody who is actually using their policy for income in retirement or for reliable tax-free income, just think about that. It's like, what's going on?
Right.
I had a guy that I was going back and forth with. He asked me to show him an example of a policy that, my supposition was that most policies don't perform that well over a long period of time. He said,
Yeah.
well, show me a policy that didn't perform well over a long period of time. Like,
What?
Who's going
The
to
burden of proof is on you. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Like,
but
yeah.
who is going to keep a policy that's not performing well?
Right.
Those policies
Right.
don't exist.
They crash and burn.
Yeah, people get out of them. They 1035 out of them.
They pull the ripcord.
Yep, they get out. It's like the reason that you don't, the evidence that you're looking for doesn't exist is because people like their money.
They cut their losses.
They cut their
move
losses.
on.
They see what's happening. They're not going to continue to fund a policy that's not performing. That makes no sense whatsoever.
I know this because we do this every single day with people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have a person we're helping right now who got a policy. He put over $1.5 million into the policy, and his surrender value after 4 years was only like $940,000.
Ouch.
Right? His accumulated value was like 1.2 million, right? So he's still behind because of surrender charges and all that stuff. But like, I mean, it's literally to the point where he's litigating, right? Because of the way that this policy was sold. The other thing is these agents, this is not really a question, but like it's a warning to you, is if the agent is using third-party Excel illustrations to sell you on these IULs and showing you these fancy spreadsheets and all this stuff to project out what it can look like for you, not only should you, and if they're using that to try to kind of get around the illustrations to show you how much better it is, because the illustration isn't going to show you just how amazing this really is. If they're doing it that way, my encouragement to you is to not just run the other way, but report them to the state insurance commissioner.
Yeah, that's not that software is not in compliance.
Not at all.
Yeah,
you know? And so, well, cool, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's a very common sense thing. It's like, well, show me.
Yeah.
It should be easy to find somebody that they can talk to and
put your money where your mouth is
and make the connection. And
that's why I created the IUL challenge.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. I literally created the IUL challenge. I basically said, show me one. If we just came through the greatest bull run of all time, right? The greatest bull run of all time. And IULs are supposed to give you upside potential and provide downside protection. Well, we just had the greatest bull run of all time. That means every single one of them should have outperformed the market. Every single one of them. They're supposed to provide upside potential. If you can't take advantage of upside potential in the greatest bull run of all time, what the hell are you doing? And so I've offered to pay anybody $2,500, the first person that can show me a policy that is outperformed after a 10-year period, and not one person's been able to do it. And I mean, to me, listen, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not possible, because it's possible. But to me, you're not buying an insurance policy for what's possible. You're buying it for what's probable, right?
Exactly.
And if it's not probable, i.e. if 95% of them don't perform that way, is that really what you're looking to do with your money? And it's totally misrepresentative of what they actually are sold as.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah, and somebody actually sent me a video of your good friend Doug Andrews breaking down a policy that...
He's not my good friend, by the way.
Yeah, just kidding. Of Doug Andrews breaking down a handful of policies that had supposedly performed that had met the original illustrated value. And my question back to him was, okay, Doug Andrews has been selling these things for decades now, a couple decades. He was one of the first people to start selling them. If he can only produce a handful of policies, it goes back to my original point. If he can only produce a handful of policies that performed over the thousands and thousands that he sold, it's like, how confident are you that you're going to be one of those needle in a haystack policies that does that? So good luck to you.
Yeah, you're just asking to get lucky. It's not going to give you a predictable result. Well, cool, man. Thanks, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you. Have fun. I'm coming to you. Don't get scared. He just commented, so now I got to come to him.
Yo.
Diana, why are you leaving? You're walking away. Diana, why
She's
are
scared.
you walking away,
Come
Diana?
here. Come with me.
Come on.
Come do this with me.
Why are you leaving?
Come here.
Why are you leaving? I'm calling you out. I walk over
Diana.
here and you just walk away. These guys, I tell you. Oh, it's nice to sit down. This is cool.
Yes.
So, what's up, man?
What up?
So, Matt's different. Matt is not even technically part of Life180. He's up in
Canada.
He's up in Canada, and he came down to this retreat here to learn marketing, to share his marketing knowledge, just to, we're just having fun.
Yep.
Join a community. It's fun to kind of hang out
Yes,
with
sir.
like-minded people, right?
Oh yeah, man.
Awesome.
I love content creation. I think every agent should be doing it, and I love that. That's a big focus, and not just like the BS content that you see on TikTok. And I definitely was there, but the ones that are actually educating and developing funnels to educate people. Saying that you always say,
I don't know.
selling. You shouldn't just try to sell because it's going to do less for your business than trying to educate long
Yeah.
term, right?
Yeah. Don't be a marketer.
Yeah.
Don't be a salesperson. Be an educator. Expose and sort. Just show people the information. And if you do a good job at communicating what's going on and what the opportunity is and the problems that this can solve, then like the people are going to go through their own process. Our job as life insurance agents is not to sell people. It's to guide people down their own path of kind of discovery on this. Because if you think about it, go back to when you first did it, right? When you first got exposed to this concept, if somebody tried to sell you on it, you would have probably ran the other way, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, that sounds too good to be true, and blah,
Right.
blah, 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 blah. What you had to do is go through a process of like your own research, your own discovery. It had to make sense to you. You had to see how in alignment and why it was in alignment with your values and beliefs.
Right.
And then because as you dove deeper, the more you learned about it, the more excited you got because it was a solution to a lot of problems. And it wasn't just like, what's my rate of return?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You shouldn't have to be sold on this. This is something that you come and draw a conclusion to on your, by yourself. So I'm so happy to have the mentorship that you've given us because I think everyone's going to leave here with like the way to sell in the right way. Because you have to still show people the right things, and at the end of the day, you are technically selling.
You got to influence.
But
you got to influence people.
And you've kind of empowered everyone to be an influencer, but a responsible influencer. So we all have a duty to do the right thing, and it's pretty cool to see. It's really cool
That's
to see and be in the right place at the right time.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Well, so now let's get to the point.
Yeah.
IUL, UL in Canada.
UL
right?
in
So
Canada.
Canada doesn't have IUL, but he's here, so we'll give him a chance.
Yeah.
He can cut this video up and have it on his channel and whatever. But why or what question should people ask if they're thinking about utilizing UL? If somebody's selling them a UL policy for like infinite banking or something of that nature, what question should they ask their agent? What do you to really learn and figure out if it really truly is the right thing for them?
Yeah, I think what I would do is ask the agent how they're using the policy, because ULs are never guaranteed. Obviously, there's a floor that you can have, a level premium, but here's the thing: there's terms to that, and I think just having a conversation and seeing if the agent aligns with your values, because I think going back to whole life is a better solution for the mass. Obviously, it depends on each person's specific situation. I can't tell you that universal life is a good thing or bad thing, but it's something that you have to explore and do the research on your own, because at the end of the day, there's so many salespeople. They're just going to try to sell you, right? It shouldn't go about that. So I think getting to understand why that agent is selling you a universal life policy rather than a whole life, rather than a term policy, you have to kind of see, does this align with where I want to go and where my finances are going? And I think a question to ask is, how are you using this? How are you, Mr. Agent, how are you using this in your everyday life? And then go from there.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. I mean, it kind of emulates what Ian was saying. Is like, show me a success story. You have all these opinions, like just show me one success story. Somebody who's used it long term. You know what I mean? Like a lot of I would caution, because UL and IUL specifically online has gained a lot of traction over the past 3 to 4 years. So we have a lot of people that are selling it online, and they're totally new, totally green, don't have a background, don't have a history. They're selling on projections and assumptions and all these things that are irrelevant when it comes to your financial success. And so I would really caution you, if you want to do that, not only show me yours, but show me the person who coached you. Show me the person who's training you. Show me your upline. Show me your mentors. Show me your manager's policy. Get that, like, ask for the transparency.
And it's sad because I kind of got screwed over when I first came to you. I had a universal life policy, and I was told that whole life had no potential to be a universal life policy, which is just not the case. And it's upsetting because I lost like $3,000 or so, and that's a lot when you were like 18 years old. Like that's a lot when you're working. You're like, holy cow. So
you're taking a vacation.
I know. I could have came here, man.
I know.
Like I wish.
I know.
But, so you have to just be cautious because, like I said, at the end of the day, it's sometimes in the agent's best interest to set you up with a universal life policy where they could just set you and forget you with the upside potential of the product, and then come back 8 years and you've been absolutely devastated.
Yep.
With a whole life policy, especially, I mean, it could go both ways because someone could do this with a whole life policy. So I just want to be very open-minded.
Totally.
So really get to understand who your agent is, who they, where they come from, and are they practicing what they preach? Because if they're not, well, you know what to do.
I love it. Love
Yeah.
it, man. Thank
Okay.
you. All right.
Thanks,
more money,
LIFE180.
more money, Matt here. Go check him out.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Oh, Matt, you're next. He's coming over to read a book, but I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get you too. I got you. I got. Oh yeah. Hey, hey. She's next. She's next. It's gonna be Matt. It's gonna be Matt, and then Romania. She's in the background. She's gonna be on camera for a while. So, all right. So what we're doing here, I'm gonna shrink this down. Oh yeah, I like this tripod. It's nice. What we're doing now is I'm going through and I'm asking you guys, what I'm looking to do is try to get 5 total answers on 5 questions you should ask your agent before you buy an IUL, so you know if it's the right fit for you. So like, if you had a client that was coming to you and said, hey Matt, man, I'm really interested in this whole life thing, but I'm talking to this other agent and they say that whole life is outdated. It's it's a dinosaur. Whole life is a flip phone. IUL's the iPhone. I hear all these statements.
Swiss Army knife.
Swiss Army knife, right? It does all these things. What would you tell that person to say? All right, here's one question, and like the question you need to ask. Go back and ask this agent.
One question?
Yeah, if you had one question you could tell them,
Okay.
what would that one question be to go back and ask that agent so they could get the answer to know if it was or wasn't the right product for them?
Well, that one question, most IUL agents probably wouldn't be able to answer, but I think that would be
That's the point.
that would be the point, right? I would ask the agent, hey, what are all the possible ways that the policy can lapse? And I think a lot of the agents probably would say, oh, if you just don't make your payment. And that's probably about it. That's probably where it would end. Man, it's hard with one question. I mean, that'd be one of the bigger ones is, what are some of the downsides that could
Yeah,
lead
but it
the
offers
policy?
downside protection.
Well, outside of that, because I'm going to have to coach the person and say, hey, look, these are all the different ways, and let's see if they actually come through and say that.
Yeah, of course.
But I think that with the popularity, of IULs, another question is, what do they say about Chris's content on YouTube? Hey, there's a guy named Chris Kirkpatrick, LIFE180. He talks a lot about IULs. What do you think about that? I think that would be a great question.
That's funny. I think that's a great question too, personally.
And I know this is more than one question, but I mean,
Yep.
it's relevant.
okay.
Another one, obviously.
You have a little clout around here, so I'll
A
let
little
it go
bit.
too.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think another one would be how long you've been selling it, and how have you determined that these actually work? How did you come up with that conclusion? And what is the probability that this illustration is going to play out like you said? Like, I would want a percentage. And if somebody said, well, not everything's guaranteed, I told you there's upsides, but there's no downsides, but nothing's guaranteed. Well, if they said there's an 80% chance, then I would say, how'd you come to that 80%? Can you walk me through that? How'd you come to that conclusion?
Love it. Cool, man.
That's all I get.
It's all common sense. You got two.
Can I say one
That
more?
was two.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. You want one more?
All right.
All right.
Another one is,
Can't shut this guy up.
why, I hear a lot about IULs. Why do you think this is better than whole life?
Why do you think it's better than whole life?
That's what I would have them ask.
Oh.
Just to see what they would say.
What do you think they would say?
I think the number one probably thing they say is, well, it has better growth.
Better growth?
That's
Do
probably,
they do they use that tone?
Yeah, like, oh, it has better growth. Oh, it'll smoke whole life. It's like a rocket compared to a little plane. They say dumb stuff like that, analogies. I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. So those are 3 questions that Matt would ask. And Matt would know because he sold IULs. I try not to hold it against him because I sold IULs too for a while, but this guy did it for 8 years.
Former IUL agent.
Fully reformed.
Yeah, reformed.
Reformed and recovered.
Reformed.
You what?
I made the guy pray I found out that he's been selling for 8 years.
I know.
Completely
I know.
cleansed.
Totally making amends. And, yep. So cool, man.
All
Well,
right.
thank you.
Thanks.
All right, I got to get back here to Romania. She's, oh, look at her. She, you know, a couple days ago, let's talk this for a second. A couple days ago,
I was running away.
this young lady was running away from me. She didn't even want to be on camera. You know, she was nervous. We took her zip lining. We put her life at risk on a boat and, you know, making her write email content and put together websites and funnels and talking about all this stuff. And now she's like, Chris, don't forget me. Don't forget me. I got an opinion. I got to say something. So, hey,
Hi everyone.
what's up?
He's right.
I'm absolutely
But
right.
I've chased away all my fears, so I'm running to the camera.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Hi.
So what would it be for you? Like, what would be if somebody, you know, a nurse, because guys, if you're a nurse and you're watching this or you know a nurse, you need to share this lady's
I'm the
content.
one.
She's a registered nurse. She's been doing that for 24 years. She is branching out and doing life insurance on the part-time basis, joining us and using our guidance and mentorship and support and, you know, all the marketing. But she is creating an amazing brand, reaching out to support registered nurses because there's such a lack of financial education for nurses who make a really solid income compared to average, you know, average people. You know, the average income, they're probably double the average income, you know, in the country right now, and yet they still have the same financial problems, right? And so Romania has a real passion about educating them because while they make more money, they also have a lot more physical demands on their body, and they have a lot higher chance of running into challenges and being able to have their career cut short or something of that nature, or maybe just burnout, you know, because it's freaking stressful.
It is stressful.
It's emotional.
It's very stressful.
It's
You're on your
hard.
feet, lifting,
Yeah.
pulling, working long hours.
Yeah.
It's very stressful.
And so you,
And the more options you have to
Yeah.
be able to just to have that option in the future, if you choose to, retire early or do other things, you have that option. But
For
you
sure.
got to start early and think about it early. And this is why I'm so passionate about teaching my colleagues how to do that. Because I wish I did know this when I was younger in the
yeah,
career.
you're still young. So
Younger.
younger. So Romania, what if somebody came to you because you know have experience with IUL? If somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I appreciate your thoughts on whole life. I appreciate your thoughts on all the financial strategies that you're trying to teach me, but I got this person that told me you're wrong. IUL's the bomb, and you know I really am feeling called to go that way." What would be the one question you would tell them to ask their agent to really be able to figure out is it the right thing for them, and you know, is it in alignment with their values, their beliefs, and is it really the right fit for what they're looking for?
My one question would be, yes, you talk about upward potential and
Downside protection.
downside protection, upright growth.
Yep.
So what happens when what you've illustrated to me doesn't happen for 1, 2, 3 years? What happens to the insurance itself and how I'm not being sucked into the fees that are being charged in the background or underneath? Because that really could lapse your policy if you what you think
So
you
true.
could potentially earn is not happening for 2, 3, 4, or whatever how many years. That could really hurt you. So the one question I would want to know, what happens when the market doesn't do what we think it would have done? And then now you have to still pay for insurance, the cost of insurance that's eating up the IUL inside the policy. What happens? What happens to my policy? How
What
do I
happens to your
keep it up?
cash?
Or my cash?
Yeah, to
Yeah.
all of that, right? Like, I mean, it's a lot of people don't realize, like, on IUL illustrations, they show positive results every single year, right? And when you use, I would add this to what she's saying because I think she brings up just a brilliant point. Is when you look at the illustration, I encourage everybody to look at like the 20-year historical performance of whatever index that you're looking at. It shows that historical performance, and I encourage you to look at how many years that index has performed worse than the cost of borrowing, meaning the loan rate, right? And so what you're going to find right now is it's about 35% of the time. The performance is worse than the loan rate. And so what does that mean? That means 35% of the time, if you were to take a policy loan 35% of the time, which is a big part of the time when you talk about compounding and expenses and fees, 35% of the time, the policy is going to perform worse than it's illustrated. And when that happens, all the other fees, all the other things compound against you. They talk about earning uninterrupted compounding, especially my boy Curtis Ray from MPI, who likes to talk about the fact that, compounding is always be compounding and all this crap. Like, it's all going to compound against you, and it's going to get really ugly because when you do MPI and you use a relock and all that stuff, what's compounding? Your loan costs. That's what's compounding, right? And like that's the danger in these things, and everybody positions it like it's this hidden secret that is the secret tool of the wealthy. But the reality is, when you get into this and you really look at it, it's super dangerous because they illustrate, when you use policy loans, they illustrate at 50 basis points, meaning a half a percentage point of positive arbitrage or positive spread, meaning if you have $1,000 in loan costs, it's going to give you $1,050 in policy credits, right? They guarantee that every year. But what happens if you have that $1,000 in loan costs and then the market goes down and it doesn't perform? Now you have an loan cost and the interest expense above and beyond that. You don't have that $1,050. You have nothing that's credited to it. That policy will actually go down. That $1,000 of loan cost is going to drag the policy value down, and that is not shown even once on an illustration. It is like pie in the sky, perfect world scenario, and I can show you how even if a policy performs exactly how it is illustrated while you're accumulating money and you're working, when you hit retirement, even 2 or 3 bad years in a 5-6 year period can completely derail the policy. And that's assuming it was perfect for 20 years before that, which is not going to happen, right? So like,
because the market goes up and down,
right?
And
so
nobody can control that.
Exactly. So when you break these things down, it becomes the biggest no-brainer to really understand. And so, what I think is beautiful, what I think is cool is we got all these agents here, and they're all going down, and they're all not doing this. The thing that drives me nuts is when you go to these projections in World Financial Group and PHP and PFA and GF, like all these companies that do these like sales pitches on, just trying to sell their thing. It's really, if you're using a slide deck to pitch your thing and try to make people buy what you're selling, that's never about serving people. No. It's about like me trying to sell a product.
Right.
Versus trying to put content together like you're doing. And is it easy?
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's hard because you're genuine about it. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to sell somebody something. You're providing value to someone.
That's right. And then you got to do that. You got to enjoy the process, right? And so the bottom line though is like, it's not easy, but you're doing it and it's worth it. And what you're doing is you're sharing your story. You're going to connect with people that you actually, can relate to and that can relate to you. And, you didn't get into this business to make a ton of money.
No.
You got into this business because you started doing this. You believe in it. You think you have a responsibility to share this with people. And it just so happens to be, if you do it the right way and you share your story the right way, you'll make a lot of money.
True.
Right?
And it's a service you're providing, just like nursing care. You're taking care of someone. You're helping somebody get better.
Right.
So it's the same way in the financial world.
I love it. Well, thanks.
You're welcome.
And I love the growth.
Chris.
I love it. I'm loving watching you. You're so much fun. This is amazing. So, all right, I think that was 5, but I'm gonna get Diane. Oh, I don't think she.
She is.
Do you want to? Should I do it? Ah, here we go. We're doing it. She was running just a little bit.
I'm so shy.
This is Diana. So guys, welcome to Diana. She's helping us launch LIFE180 Latino. It's pretty cool. So English is her second language. She's going to be crushing the Spanish-speaking content. I'm really excited.
We are.
She's a very high-performing agent in the U.S. now for 8 years, impacted a lot of lives, and going to be helping us take this message and everything I've been talking about in English, and she's going to turn a lot of it into Spanish and be bringing it to the masses on that level, and I'm so excited to work with her. So, that said, you have a passion against IUL, and you have a passion for whole life, and you have a passion for helping people who are immigrating to this country to, change their families.
Yes, and made me sad because it's too many agents that just give a promise to the families that maybe with a $50 they can have a retirement plan, and maybe they have a savings account with just.
We lost everybody. We only got 6 people with us still. So welcome to the Dominican Republic, where the internet is spotty. We have Starlink, power rolling blackouts. We got a battery backup, but every time the internet or the power blips, the battery has to kick in and reset everything. And so here we are. It makes lives a little ineffective, but thank you for staying with us. And so what we were talking with Miss Diana here.
Yes, we are
about
talking about what happened with those agents that just tell to the clients that you can be free with $50, with $100. You can have a retirement plan. You can have a life insurance is a saving account. What do you say about it? Please?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the people are saying that you can do that, and I think it's super dangerous. I mean, I think to think that, first of all, life insurance should never be viewed as an investment. I think it's a big problem. Like if people are saying, hey, just put $100 a month away and it'll create all this retirement income for you. Like I was brought up, my parents weren't like the most sophisticated people in the world, but they at least taught me, like, if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true, right? And so I would encourage everybody to think that. So like think through it like that, I should say. And so let me ask you this, like what would you say, like, to everybody, who is Spanish speaking, tell them something in Spanish that they need to hear to ask their agent to make sure, like, give them some advice, like give me 60 seconds of some gold here for them to ask, so they know how to, like, figure out, is this right for them or not?
Una póliza whole life no es un investment, no es una cuenta de ahorros, es una póliza de vida que te puede dar diferentes beneficios, pero no es un investment, no es un plan de retiro. Tú tienes que hacer un plan, pero no es un investment. So, tienes que hacer un plan para tu vida, no es para qué te sirve, en qué momento de tu vida te encuentras para así poder llegar a lo que tú quieres lograr. Son diferentes steps, diferentes pasos que debes hacer para tener realmente financial freedom. No solamente una póliza de vida. ¿Por qué la necesitas y por qué la estás comprando? Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. I don't know what she said, but I'm sure it was amazing. Now say it in English a little bit.
Okay. Now, why you are buying whole life insurance? It is not an investment like the agent said at this moment. That is an investment, and is a whole life policy can grow in a compound interest at 10%, 50%. That's not true. It's a whole life insurance, and why do you need a life insurance? What is your motivation for buying life insurance? So you have to be sure why and where you are right now. So that way you can be.
Yeah, so basically what she's saying is you need to understand the problems you're trying to solve, right?
Exactly.
You need to understand why you're buying the product more than anything else. And then, life insurance is not an investment. It's a savings alternative. It's a savings alternative that provides a lot of other ancillary benefits. And so you need to think about, like, what are the challenges that you have in life? What are your long-term goals and objectives? And what do you need to do to get there? Kind of like, where's the gap? And how is this product going to help me? And if you can't determine that, then you shouldn't do it, And so that's really what it comes down to. So really excited. I think the thing that's really been frustrating to me is that the middle class is falling prey to this IUL conversation more than anybody else. I think the immigrant...
What happened in 20 years? What happened, Chris, in 20 years, in 30 years when people expecting some financial freedom, some retirement on their accounts?
All these people that moved here to change their family's life, and if they bank on IUL being that solution for them, they're going to wind up losing a whole generation of potential.
And there is no Not
It's hard to
gonna
make
happen.
up for. It's hard to make up for, right? And so, all right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
please.
You're awesome.
Next time
All right.
that will be better.
We're going to be putting together, you're going to be amazing. You're amazing already. So we're going to be launching the Life180 Latino channel, so be on the lookout. And if you have any Spanish as the first language following, you're going to want them to follow that. So I'm going to bring it over to Mr. Kamke here. We got two more people.
What's up?
What's up? We're going more than 5. You guys are getting so much bonus content today. It's amazing. And I'm just addicted to doing this stuff, and I love creating content. And I'm sorry, my camera's all over the place for a second. But here we go. So, if you were in a competitive environment with a sale, and the person came to you and said, hey, Jeff, thanks for your information, but I just talked to this IUL person. I really like what I see, and I think I'm going to go that direction. What would it be if you could only say one thing? If you could only tell them one thing to do, what would be your statement on a question? What would be one question you would give them to ask so they could come to their own conclusion and really figure out, is it really right for me or not?
Well, good timing, Chris, because I just literally within the last hour got off a client call, and that client had an IUL pitch to them. $400 a month was supposed to turn their life around and give them all kinds of retirement income, and he didn't know specifics, but it just sounded too good to be true. So I asked him, and this is the answer to your question. This is what I would say is, I asked this gentleman on the phone, did they go over the downside? Did they discuss the risks? Did they discuss the moving levers and how the policy is structured as the chassis of it and the different components that make up the policy? Did they discuss that? Did they go over that with you? Did they give you full disclosure of the risks? And he's like, no, they just painted the big picture. So I'm like, okay, well, there's some downsides. So we educate a little bit on that because that's what I think I see the most often is the illustration is what's sold. When I see TikToks, when I hear of other agents that sell this stuff, it's all based off the illustration and a very overinflated rate of return that is expected to be done on a almost guaranteed level, like, oh, you don't have to worry about anything. And the downsides, the risks, none of that is ever disclosed. So I think my question would certainly be, what are those downsides, and can the agent articulate all those, and are they including all of them? Because they may just touch on one or two because that's the only little bit that maybe their mentor told them, and they don't truly understand the depth of the product, how it functions, and what scenarios could come into play when the market goes down, and how that can affect the performance of the policy and even the ability for the policy to stay in force.
I would add, when you say they're sold off the illustration, what they're really sold off is the ledger on the illustration, right?
Right.
So when you look at the ledger, those are totally misrepresentative. I would encourage everybody, I would take it a step further and tell everybody to read every line on the illustration. I know it's going to be hard, but we're talking about your financial future. We're talking about the fact that, maybe you're going to have to get through 45 to 60 pages or 70 pages of the illustration. A lot of fine print, a lot of disclosures, a lot of disclaimers that they're going to have to put out there. And I would also say that if you do this, if you're looking, a lot of times they'll say, hey, do $400 a month and look at all this stuff it'll do for you, and they'll tell you the projections, but then when they go to give you the illustration, they'll actually run it without the illustrations. Or without the not the illustration, run it without the income. Because when they run it with income, it actually puts in a lot more disclaimers and disclosures that they have to tell you, because it puts more variables and more risk into the policy, but they don't want you to know that. And if you were to read the disclaimers on the illustration, like the actual fine print of the illustration, when you have loans coming on the illustration and being illustrated, now you're looking at a situation where it's like, oh, like you see things through a different lens, and you see the truth of what could actually be. And this is how life insurance companies get away with stuff, and agents don't want you to know, but I would encourage you to read the illustrations. Don't just fall for that. And obviously, if you have any questions, reach out to this guy. What's your YouTube channel?
WealthEnergetics.
WealthEnergetics. Go look him up. He's awesome. So
Cool. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. All right. Uno más. We got one more. Mr. Charles, coming at you. What's up? All right. You guys probably recognize him. He's been on the channel several times now. We just did a video a couple weeks ago. So I think it's funny they're talking about IULs over there now too. It's just it's a sickness around here. We just can't help but
It is
protect
kind of a
people against this
sickness,
crap. We're up like literally. People are creating content until like 1 in the morning, and up in the studio and all that stuff. It's been a lot of fun.
There's a buzz around this retreat. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, you know what I'm talking about, right?
do.
We've been going around. So,
do.
what is the one question? Like, if you're in a competitive situation, somebody says, "You know what, Charles? Thanks for all the info, but like I've been talking to this guy, and he says you're wrong, and this IUL is really the solution to my problems." What's the one thing you would say for that
I would
person?
say just go with it.
Just go with it.
Go ahead and get that IUL, and pay the price. 20 years from now. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
Not my problem.
Not my problem. No, what I would ask is what risks does an IUL have? Because this product's sold as a risk-free retirement vehicle. It's sold as an investment, and it's sold as a unicorn product where it fixes all your problems, or you invest a small amount of money and you can take a ridiculous amount of withdrawal rate. I would ask what are the levers that insurance policy or that the insurance companies have over your policy? And then I would ask, how does that compare to your whole life policy? And what levers does a whole life company have over your policy? And just compare the two. And then see what you're more comfortable with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The problem is we're sold this risk-free investment.
Yep.
And it's far from the truth. And when it's riskiest is when you need it the most in your retirement.
Yep.
Like how devastating, just sit down and think about how devastating would it be if you were in your retirement, you basically put all of your life savings into this financial product and it failed you very early into your life, into your retirement life. How devastating would that be? Not only would it be devastating, but you'd also have a massive tax liability to boot. And ask yourselves, would you really want to have a situation where that would occur? And so when we look around this whole resort and we see all these people that are passionate about whole life and despise IULs, it's not because IULs are bad. It's because IULs are so misrepresented.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. If they were represented in a ethical way, they wouldn't sell any of them. They wouldn't exist. And I'm not saying that IUL agents are bad per se. They're just misinformed. They just don't understand the product.
Yeah.
From their other IMOs, they're just pushed to go sell. And this is a great product. There's no risk involved, and that's very far from the truth.
Love it, man. Cool. Are you having fun?
Having a great. Oh yeah, just pumping
getting
out
stuff
emails.
done?
Yeah,
Getting stuff done.
Doing the boring work.
Yeah, doing the boring work, but it's awesome. I love it. You have a passion for doing what you're doing and sharing your story and getting it out there, and this is the kind of stuff. I mean, I think the coolest part about this whole retreat is every single person here is here for looking for a way to really enhance the impact that they can make, right? Like that's what it's about. It's like getting their story dialed in, getting the communication around that story and the nuances of those stories so they can be more effective and more impactful and have more influence. Not influence in a way to manipulate, but influence just in a way to communicate more effectively. So, we can control, like I'm a big believer, if you want to be successful in this business, you got to just focus on the things you can control. Because if you let the stuff that's out of your control impact you, you're just going to crash and burn, And so the cool part is when you build these systems and you're clear about your story, you're clear about, what you're really looking to do and how you want to help people, then you just build the system and you focus on just creating and adding value to people's lives. And it's the hardest way to go about the business, It really, really, truly is, but it's also the most worth it. It's also the way that's going to provide the most stability from a long-term perspective. You got to do the work at the front before you can take the benefits off the back. We work in an industry where 93% of the people that join it fail within the first 3 years. To me, that's a problem, and it doesn't need to be that way, but that's because people are getting into the business and they're told, just call all your friends and family and burn through that list, and then people are never trained how to build a business. People are never trained how to be an entrepreneur, and then before you know it, they're crashing and burning. We need to teach people actually how to be entrepreneurs and how to build a long-lasting business, right? So
Correct, correct.
how are you feeling about that
Yeah,
so far on
so
this?
so the way that I view a whole life policy is that it's the foundation to my finances. And from that I can build a powerful empire, but at least I have that as my foundation. Well, the work that we're doing here is the equivalent to that foundation for my business. Now the problem with the insurance industry is that a lot of people get into it with maybe not enough capital, maybe not enough infrastructure for them to be successful. So they burn out, and in the process, they might be a little unethical in the way they sell things, right? So what I like about the way Chris approaches everything is it's from a standpoint of being ethical. And so putting the time in, creating the systems in a way where we're nurturing clients and it's an education-based way so that the client can look and say, hey, I think this is right for me, and the client can educate themselves. That's so much more powerful than just following this benign system that doesn't really teach anybody anything, and there's so many moral hazards involved with going down that route. So I want to thank
Love
you
it.
for putting this
Yeah, man.
whole Life 180
I
retreat
love it.
mastermind together. And if any of you guys are watching and maybe thinking about joining Life 180 or maybe joining the mastermind, I highly recommend it.
Thanks, brother. No, it's fun. This has been probably the most fun week I've had in a long time. So I'm excited to do it again. I think we're gonna do another one in like 120 days. That's the goal. So it's gonna be fun.
Maybe I'll just move here.
You might not leave. You
I
might
might
just
not
stay
leave.
here.
Just cancel the flights.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you found value in that. This comment by Biddy Cooper or whatever, I don't know what to say to that. Grow up. So that is it for now. Hopefully you found value in this. If you did, please like it, share it, get it out there to people. If you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. I'll do my best to engage with everyone. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Till next time, we'll see you then. Have a blessed, inspirational day.